Another week and another mock draft. It's Giants Now Mock Draft 6.0 time here on the channel. And this might be about the doomsday scenario. We'll break that down and I'll unveil my 3-round mock coming up in a second. First, though, hit that big red subscribe button. Tom Downey, the fraud that he is, the host of the Cowboys Report, our rival channel here at Chat Sports, has challenged us to a sub-off. And I don't want to lose. If you love the Giants and you want free content every day, most importantly, you hate the Cowboys, hit that subscribe button. Yo! What's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and it's mock draft season. And it's mock draft 6.0 already. We've already put out 5 mock drafts this offseason. We're going to do one every week leading up to the draft. And let's talk about today's 3-round mock draft. If you haven't seen the draft order, maybe move out from the rock you're living under. The Giants are going to be picking number 3 in the 2025 draft. Titans 1, Browns 2, G-Men 3, Patriots 4, Jaguars 5, Raiders 6, Jets 7, Panthers 8, Saints 9, and the Bears number 10. The Giants have a handful of picks in this draft. They're going to pick 3rd in the first round, 2nd in the second round, 1st in the 3rd round, 3rd in the 4th round. They got a late 4th round comp pick because of Xavier McKinney. They have the 5th round pick that comes over from the Seattle Seahawks due to the Leonard Williams trade. Thank you, Smitty. 7th round pick is yours. You also have the Bills' 7th round pick. And then you have a comp pick in the 7th round. So you got a handful of picks, and you got an opportunity to improve this roster. In the first pick of this mock draft, Cam Ward goes to Tennessee, quarterback out of Miami. I use the PFF mock draft simulator, so if you got a problem, you can confront them. But this seems like the most likely scenario as we sit here at the middle of January. He's the odds-on favorite to go number 1. There's a lot of smoke around it, and it seems like the dream of him falling to the Giants at 3 might just be finito. So Cam Ward goes number 1, and the Cleveland Browns are on the clock, and they need a quarterback as well with Deshaun Watson potentially missing the entire season due to his setback and his Achilles rehab and actually tearing that. So Shedeur Sanders ends up going number 2 overall to the Browns, and this might be worst-case scenario for the Giants. Quarterback goes 1, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback goes 2, and the Giants are on the clock with their biggest need being a quarterback and 1 not being worthy of that pick. So if you were Joe Schoen, if you were the general manager of the New York Football Giants, and this is the way the first 2 picks rolled out, who would you take number 3? Ward, Sanders, off the board, Giants on the clock. Who's your pick? With the 3rd pick in the Giants Now Mock Draft 6.0, Giants Now GM Marshall Green. He selects Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner, the corner, wide receiver, dual threat player out of Colorado. Look, I don't love the idea of not getting a quarterback at number 3 overall. But you know what? This is the way that it might shake out. And I want to be prepared for it. I know the Giants are going to be prepared for it as well. Travis Hunter is most likely the best football player in this class. I think it's pretty easy to say that he is the best football player in this class. Whatever he decides to do, whether it's corner, whether it's receiver, whether it's a mix, whether it's a split, he is going to be successful at either of those spots. And for the Giants, they need playmakers on both sides of the ball. And at the very least, Travis Hunter, he's a playmaker. And I think he's got the opportunity to potentially be an all-pro player on either side of the ball if he commits to either one. He had a really good year on defense for Colorado. He had a PFF coverage grade of 90.7, really grew on that side of the ball, gave up like 5 touchdowns in 2023, just 1 in 2024. People talk about he's not the best corner in this class. I'll push back on that a little bit. I do think he is the best corner in this class. Allowed just 22 receptions on 40 targets for 212 yards, less than 10 yards per catch. He's a receiver, obviously. When he's on defense, the ball's in his air, 4 balls in the air, 4 interceptions, 11 pass breakups. This guy really grew on defense. And I thought he took a major step on offense as well. People say he's not a top 5 receiver. I disagree. I think he's the most dynamic athlete in this class with the ball in his hands. I think you can make the argument that he is the best wide receiver in this class. You see all the beautiful receiving stats on screen, but beyond the stat sheet, he is a weapon. 24 missed tackles force, 11 of 16 on contested catches. He may be slight, he may be slender, he may only weigh a buck 85, but when the ball is in the air, it's not a 50-50. It's an 80-20. He brings it down more often than not. 475 yards after catch. Just 3 drops on the year, and he didn't do it as a slot merchant. 509 snaps on the outside. And as Hunter does both well, receiver and corner, the Giants don't really do either of those well outside of Malik Neighbors. Giants have a major need at playmaker on offense, specifically wide receiver 2. Giants have a major need at CB1. And I'm not saying the Giants should only pick him because they have that need. I think he's the best player available. And that is how Joe Shane should enter this pick. Who is the guy that I can select that is most likely to wear a gold jacket one day? And at this moment, I think it's Travis Hunter. I think Abdul Carter is a close second. He'll be great at either position. If he wants to be a full-time receiver, he'll be an all-pro. You want to be a full-time corner? I think he'll be an all-pro. And I think there's a world where he could do both successfully. Ideally, he's a legit CB1. Who is your punt return specialist? Who is your kick return specialist? He holds down one side of the field for you for the next 10 to 12 years. And then maybe he plays 15 to 20 plays on offense a game. And he gets 50 catches in the season. And he goes for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. And he makes game-breaking plays. And in big games and in the playoffs, you see that snap number take a tick up. I think he could really affect the game on both sides in this league. I'd be very happy with Travis Hunter at number 3 overall. Other good players available like Abdul Carter and Mason Graham. I'm going to take a bet on a guy who I think is the best well-rounded football player in this class. Got to talk about round 2 and got to talk about round 3. And one of these guys is going to be a quarterback. First, though, if you're looking for tickets to a playoff game for the NFL, get them with GameTime. You get these best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. And when you use our promo code at Chat Sports, that's CHATSPORTS, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase or terms to apply. GameTime specializes in last-minute tickets. Prices of those tickets actually drop as the events get closer. So if you like to procrastinate a little bit, kind of like I do, you're going to love this app. It's also super user-friendly. When deciding what tickets you want to buy, you can compare and contrast between different views from the seat. You get to access your tickets from your phone. Super easy to get into the stadium. And if you decide you want to bail last minute, like producer Seeps does all the time, you can resell your tickets very easily. I also love these 2 features. All-in pricing. That way the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees when you get to checkout. And Game Time Picks makes it that much more easy to go see your favorite people perform. NFL, NBA, college sports, as well as theater events, comedy shows, and so much more. I've been to concerts. I've been to all of them, the whole 9 yards. And I continue to use Game Time because they are the best. And if you use our promo code ChatSports, you get $20 off first purchase where terms do apply. BPA, best player available. That is my mindset going forward for the New York Football Giants. They need more of those best players. They lack elite top-end talent. And I'm going to take the best one. Even though tight end may not be the biggest need for the Giants, I could not pass up on Colston Loveland falling to the Giants at the 34th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. When you talk about a game-changing tight end, when you talk about the elite teams in this league, they have a difference maker as a receiving option at tight end. And I think Colston Loveland has the potential to be one of the best tight ends in the National Football League because he was the best tight end last year in college football in 2023 when he had J.J. McCarthy under center, when he had a quarterback that could get him the rock, when he had a guy that could force feed him the ball. He looked like a top prospect. Coming into the draft, Dane Brugler had him at a top coming into the season, Dane Brugler had him as a top 15 prospect. This is a guy that can line up in the slot. He can line up on the outside. He can line up in the backfield. He is a true difference maker. He is a true game changer. With terrible QB play, terrible offensive structure, no identity, the guy had 56 grabs for 582 and 5 touchdowns. This guy is someone that could be a difference maker and put pressure on linebackers and safeties for years to come. I don't love the idea of double dipping a tight end. I don't love having Theo Johnson be a round 4 pick last year and then going in round 2 to get another. But Colston Loveland is a much better player and a much better prospect than Theo Johnson. Colston Loveland reminds me of a guy like TJ Hawkinson. He reminds me of someone like George Kittle, like Travis Kelce, someone that can be a legit wide receiver 1 at that tight end spot. Go watch what he did last year for Michigan. especially at the later part of the season. They ran their offense through him. Dane Brugler, big fan of Loveland, says this: despite being stuck in a sporadic passing offense, Loveland's speed and receiving athleticism pop on each tape, similar in ways to Dalton Kincaid. He will have limitations as an NFL blocker, but he can be a difference maker as a hybrid pass catcher who can line up across the formation. Some teams are even scouting him as a wide receiver. He gives me Travis Kelce vibes. Smart, calculated, can read defenses, knows the soft spots in defenses, and he could be a weapon after the catch as well. This team lacks playmakers. You got Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy. Just because you got Theo Johnson doesn't mean you can't draft a tight end. Colston Loveland would be a home run pick. Remember the name. I don't know if he'll be a Giant, but he's going to be a big-time player in this league. Quarterback time. Round 3. The people's champ. The draft board riser. Jaxson Dart, the gunslinger out of Ole Miss. Was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Went to USC. Spent the last couple of years as a Rebel. And he's starting to climb draft boards. A lot of people have him as QB3 in this class. And if he's available when the Giants are on the clock at pick 65, I'm not going to be shocked at all if the Giants take him. I think it's more likely than not the Giants leave the NFL draft with a quarterback, even if that means Shedeur and Cam Ward go 1 and 2. Whether that means you get Milroe, whether that means Dart, whether McCord, somebody else, the Giants are going to leave the draft with a quarterback. And personally, I don't love taking mid-round quarterbacks. It's not my philosophy on building a team, but with where the Giants are, they got to go out and do it. They got to throw a dart. You can't just enter next season with only veteran QB options and free agency who aren't all that much of, as I would say, needle movers. But what if the Giants select Jaxson Dart, and then they're bad in 2025, and they're back at the top of the draft in 2026? They're going to draft a quarterback, even if they haven't even seen a lot from Jaxson Dart. That's why I don't just like just drafting mid-round quarterbacks, because that means you don't have a quarterback most likely, and you're probably going to be bad next year. That'd be a bad situation. But Dart does have some traits I'm willing to bet on. There are some things about Jaxson Dart's game that I think you can roll the dice on, that you can take a risk on. And another part is he needs a year to sit. He needs a year to learn. He needs a year to grow. He needs a year to be in an NFL system, learning from an NFL coach, because he is a raw prospect. And there's a lot of things about his game that he needs to get better at. I do like, though, over the last 2 years with Ole Miss, he's gotten better. And he's shown improvement. And the improvement is very obvious when you put on the tape. He's a lot more accurate this year. He was a lot more controlled with the football. His ball placement was a lot better. I thought he did a lot better job of mixing risk-taking and being conservative. And I thought he did a good job this year of being aggressive and not reckless. The big-time throw percentage up almost 2 percentage points. The turnover-worthy play percentage went up a little bit, but he also threw the ball almost 2 yards further down the field every single time he threw it. He added 500 yards in the overall passing number for the season. The completion percentage went up by 3%. There was growth there, but he's far from a perfect prospect. Some things I like about him: good touch and anticipation. He's got good touch. He can layer the football. He can make all the throws. He can layer the ball over a middle linebacker. And he can make the second play. He can make a rusher miss. He can buy time. He can get out of the pocket. He can create with his legs behind the line of scrimmage to make a play. He's a gamer. He's someone that makes plays when there's not plays available. And he's also, I would say, a good runner. Not a great runner, but a good runner. You could scheme up some runs from the quarterback position. I also think he works well in the quick game, in large part because that's how Ole Miss's offense was. That's how Lane Kiffin likes to work. Get it out quick, know who you're throwing to pre-snap. But he does like to stare down the rush. When he feels pressure, you could see that he feels pressure. You want to sense it. You don't want to feel it, though. And I also think he locks onto his first read too often, and he misses gimme throws. The reason he's going in round 3, he's a project. But if there's a quarterback I'm willing to bet on in this class on a late-round pick, Jaxson Dart, he makes that short list. I like the moxie. I like the gamer. He's got an overall athletic background, was a high school baseball player as well. He can get out, make throws on the run. I think he plays well out of structure. But there's a lot of things that just hold me back from saying he is a proven, guaranteed franchise quarterback like I think Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders could potentially be. So mock draft 6.0 is in the books. Travis Hunter, Colston, Loveland, Jaxson, Dart. 2.5 offensive players, maybe the best corner in the draft. Grade it for me. Grade this mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Probably not my favorite draft yet because you didn't get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, and those are probably my biggest wants at this time and needs for this football team. But I don't mind coming out with the best player, a great playmaker, and a developmental QB project. I don't know. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG at @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up. And let's go G-Men.